Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking an exclusive look into the hidden, highly complex machinery that runs the world's largest democracy. We're going to peel back the layers of the Indian state, moving way past the daily news headlines to really understand the foundational gears and levers of public administration.
I mean, think about it. How do you actually govern over 1 billion people? It's an immense, almost cinematic challenge. You need a system that's incredibly robust, but also flexible enough to handle unparalleled diversity. You don't just need a government, right? You need a meticulously engineered machine. And that machine requires a blueprint, an engine, a steering wheel, and yeah, a set of emergency brakes.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our mental map for uncovering this machine. First, the blueprint. India's unique federalism. 2, dividing the power. 3, legislature, the democratic engine. 4, executive, the steering wheel. And finally, 5, judiciary, the ultimate guardian.
Let's start with Section 1, Blueprint, India's unique federalism.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that the word federation is completely, deliberately missing from the Indian Constitution. Seriously, think about that. We talk about India's federal structure all the time, yet the founders conspicuously avoided the actual word. Instead, Article 1 describes India as a union of states. And that wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate attempt by the constitution makers to keep India structurally unified in spirit, basically creating a system with a really strong unitary bias, just to prevent the nation from withering away.
So when you're studying this for exams, contrasting these side by side is absolutely crucial. On one side, we have your classic federal features, an independent judiciary, bicameralism, which just means 2 houses of parliament, and a strict division of powers. But then, these are totally counterbalanced by unitary features that pull the power right back to the center. We're talking single citizenship, a single constitution for both the union and the states, and the ultimate dominance of parliament. The states don't even have their own separate constitutions. It's a brilliantly pragmatic hybrid.
Moving right along to Section 2, dividing the power. 100, 61, 52. You'll want to burn these numbers into your mind. They represent the exact number of subjects in the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list, respectively. The union definitely holds the lion's share with 100 subjects. The states control 61, and they share 52 of them.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly who holds power over our daily lives. The Union list holds the massive national-level issues: defense, foreign affairs, railways, banking. Meanwhile, the state list manages localized day-to-day administration like police, public health, and agriculture. Then, of course, we have the concurrent list, containing subjects like criminal law and education, where both can legislate. But here's the ultimate exam rule. If there's ever a conflict between the union and the state on a concurrent subject, the union law prevails. The center literally always holds the ultimate trump card.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, Legislature, the democratic engine.
Former President of India, K.R. Narayanan, captured this perfectly when he said, "Parliament and legislatures constitute the head and front of the body politics in India." You see, in a parliamentary democracy, the legislature is supreme because it represents the actual sovereignty of the people. It's the grand forum where diverse interests from every single corner of a billion-strong nation clash, negotiate, and ultimately forge consensual policies.
Let's move to and see how this builds into tangible control over something we all care deeply about, our tax money. The legislature has absolute control over public finance. Step 1. Not a single rupee can be spent from the Consolidated Fund of India without an Appropriation Act passed by Parliament. Step 2. Once the money is spent, the Comptroller and Auditor General, or CAG, steps in as the strict guardian of the public purse to audit the accounts. Step 3. The CNAG submits this report, and the Public Accounts Committee, which is typically chaired by an opposition member, by the way, scrutinizes it to ensure fiscal prudence. It's really a flawless, self-checking mechanical loop.
Now, for Section 4, Executive, the steering wheel.
In a parliamentary model, we actually have dual executives. The president is the constitutional head, sure, but the real, raw power, that lies with the prime minister and the cabinet. British historian Ramsay Moore coined this incredibly memorable, exam-friendly analogy. Cabinet is the steering wheel of the state, and prime minister is the steersman. They are the ones actually taking the laws passed by the legislature and putting them into active motion.
Expanding on that sheer dominance, Ivor Jennings described the Prime Minister as the sun around which planets revolve. So, the crucial point is that the Prime Minister forms the absolute center of the administrative solar system. The PM is the literal keystone of the cabinet arch, holding unparalleled influence across both the executive and the legislature.
And how is all this managed? Through the clean, highly logical hierarchy of the Prime Minister's Office, or PMO. Headed by the Principal Secretary, it flows down through additional secretaries to joint secretaries handling major domains like defense and external affairs, all the way down to directors. Now, historically, back under Prime Minister Nehru, this was just a really small secretariat. But over the decades, it's evolved into a powerful mini-cabinet, a massive national policy think tank that works right alongside ministries to formulate everything from domestic reforms to international foreign policy.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Judiciary, the Ultimate Guardian.
India has a single, unified, and entirely independent judicial system with the Supreme Court sitting at its absolute apex. To really understand how the judiciary guards the state, we have to look at its specific tools. A vital one is mandamus. Literally translating to "we command," it's a judicial remedy where the court straight up orders a government body, a corporation, or a public authority to perform a specific act that it's legally obliged to do. It is essentially the court forcing the machinery to work when it stalls out.
Then we have certiorari. This is the power of ultimate oversight. It's a court process allowing a superior court to seek judicial review of a decision made by a lower court or administrative agency. Basically, if an agency steps out of line or violates the constitutional framework, the Supreme Court uses this exact tool to pull the record up, review it, and potentially quash it.
In recent decades, these powers have paved the way for what we call judicial activism. This is a fascinating phenomenon. It's when the apex court transcends from merely being an interpreter of the law to actively intervening to preserve the basic order of society. Sometimes, it even takes on the role of a lawmaker when the executive or legislative branches fail to act on critical issues. It ensures that justice, which is the fundamental requirement of any human society, is actually delivered.
So, we've mapped the blueprint, we've seen exactly how power is divided, we've watched the legislative engine roar, the executive steering wheel turn, and the judicial brakes engage. But I really want to leave you with this provocative thought. With the legislature making the laws, the executive steering the ship, and an increasingly active judiciary guarding the Constitution, who truly holds the ultimate power in this complex machine? Is it the institution, or is it the people who elect them? Keep that question in the back of your mind as you continue your studies. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the machinery of the state, right here on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next one.